Hi, this is Ben from Turn Sounds. Do not stare directly at the sun.
Yeah, we've done that.
Yeah.
But it's still very...
It's still important. Welcome to Just Keep Walking. This is a podcast focused on the Walking Dead universe. Today we're talking about Daryl Dixon, Season 1, Episode 5, Deux, Amours.
I'll get you to try that again.
No. Is the X silent?
Yeah.
Deux, Amours.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be my guess.
Yeah, we'll go with
Let's see what Lady Google
Okay.
says.
Deux Amours.
Ah, that was close.
Deux.
Deux Amours.
Which
Fair
translate to two
Your
loves.
mums. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Loves. Wow.
It's the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know how to recover from I'm Ben, joined by...
Liam, the one with no filter, apparently.
Yeah, and in the booth.
Isaac, what's going on?
Thank you very much for joining us today. Full spoilers ahead for the episode, and let's get Isaac's first impressions. What are your overall thoughts for this one?
Well, first of all, your mum in French is...
Ta mère.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm glad that you put that in, though.
It was a lot of gymnastics trying to flip around.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know what it was.
Well done.
This week's episode, yeah. So, high potential, delayed payoffs. Some scenes, again, a little bit confusing. We'll get to those, but I think I had a good time overall. I'm no fan of flashbacks, but I think so. I'm actually having trouble remembering now. I've got notes, but yeah,
Yeah, fair.
cool.
Nice. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm just sort of spoiled from the last two episodes, but it didn't really do much for me. I think-
Spoiled? What do you mean?
Like, in a negative
Yeah.
way.
Oh, okay.
It-
Right.
Yeah.
You put it well, actually, Isaac, how you said, like, hopeful, there's potential there.
Yes.
Like, you can see that there's something that you could sort of salvage from the next episode, the finale.
Hmm.
But, yeah, overall, a little bit bland.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I definitely, like, in the scale of TV and even just Walking Dead overall, it's, like, pretty bad. But for this show, it's probably the second best one, I think, after the first episode, for me at least. Yeah, definitely, at least it gave us some answers to some things, set up some interesting potential things that could pay off in the finale. So yeah, I'm happy enough with it. Gave some new developments to the world and all that. So yeah, I enjoyed it enough for sure.
That's good.
Mm.
That's good.
So yeah, where did it actually start? Hey.
That's a very good question.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was on the
Uh,
boat. They were hanging out. We'll pull it up here in a second.
yeah, with the song, right?
Yeah. Now I'm gonna stand by. I don't think a record player would work on a boat that's bumping around.
Well, the lake or river doesn't actually look... It's definitely not a lake.
But like,
It doesn't look like
if
it's-
you look behind them, even like the lamp hanging on the boat is sort of just rocking a little bit. There's
Is it?
movement, at least.
But like Isaac said, is that just like the ebb and flow?
yeah.
I don't know if it's jolting stuff as such.
Hmm.
Like the lamp wouldn't sort of make sense if it's hanging from the top of it, right? It would sway due to gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
fair
I
enough.
think I'm with Liam. It's one of those things where I wouldn't bring a record player on a boat just because I'd think to myself, it's going to be bumpy and choppy. But
Sure.
if you're just doing a slow cruise, maybe it'd work, yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, anyone who's done that before can let us know. I mean, pretty much straight after the first scene, you get into the flashback stuff. And, I mean, I said to you guys that I wouldn't mind if the whole thing was a flashback in the sense of like, oh, well, whatever. At least we're getting some answers now, and it's sort of something a bit more interesting than what it has been the last few episodes. So, yeah, look, I'm pretty happy with the reasoning we got overall as to why he's in France, how he got there and all that.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes, all the way up to like he's getting fuel. This is why he's away from home, because he's been out and he's run out of fuel. Working it back, but then after he gets like arrested or whatever for disorderly conduct, him just straight away getting shipped to a boat was just the one little leap where I was like, hang on a second, wait.
Mm.
Like, I felt like we needed some scene being like, we told you that you can't do this,
Mm.
like, whatever. And then some scene of him, like, going after this guy and killing him, you know, Daryl killing this other guy because of what he did to the boy.
Mm.
And then they're like, all right, that's way out of line. You're way too far here. Ship him off. And then...
I see it less as that they're a good organized group and then Daryl really did something bad and they had to punish him for it, but more so as like they're kind of almost looking for an excuse just to take people, and it's like, oh, well, if they can just work for us, great, and then if they step slightly out of line even, then that gives us an excuse to abduct them, and at least then... Because like if you go and randomly grab people off the road, then there's going to be retaliation at some point. But if it's because, hey, they broke the rules and everyone agreed to the rules, you agreed to the rules too, right? So, hey, he broke the rules and we took him away, and no one's going to argue with that as much. So, I don't know. That's kind of the way I looked at it, is at least they're sort of just wanting to do it anyway, and this gives them an excuse for it.
Yeah, fair enough. My first note for this particular scene, when he's going through all the rules, one of his rules is no shorties. And he says 5'4" only. I wondered whether that was two separate measurements or whether that was a height thing. But I looked up because I don't know how to do that. You know, we measure in centimeters. Certainly I do. It's 162 centimeters is the minimum height requirement he's saying there. And I'm 165 and a half. So
you just made it.
I can go on the hunt, boys.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Why, though?
Don't know.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, it is what it is. But at least, yeah, you know, the whole thing's interesting enough. We got that weird scientist guy who was in the other episode, so that's something.
This guy had like a complete like layup for like the best comeback ever when this kid's holding out his picture of his girlfriend or whatever, and the guy snatches it out of his hand, does the old, you know, sleazy, oh, maybe I'll give her a call.
Yeah.
On what? How? Like,
Yeah, good luck with that, buddy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to radio in? What are you
Yeah,
going to do?
yeah.
Messenger pigeon.
Messenger pigeon.
I just got off the radio. With who? Your mom.
She said she's very disappointed in you.
It's a man.
Yeah, there you go. What notes have you got? You always take some good notes, Isaac.
I mean, I'm hoping so. I was pretty well entertained by this episode, so I didn't want to look at my phone too much. I did like old mate here, the skipper, his character.
Yeah, he was cool.
One of those guys that we've only kind of known a little bit. I think maybe the episode before.
I can't even remember like where he came from. Hey.
No.
I think he was just waiting on the docks and.
Oh,
Like,
right.
Yep, climb aboard.
Boat guy.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But,
yeah.
But it's
half
not.
boat, half guy.
Yeah.
I'll work with that. That's good. But yeah, one of the few times in this history of this whole franchise where it can introduce somebody and they're likable straight away and we're not suspicious of them at all. I certainly wasn't suspicious about him. And then when he does die later on, it was a real like, man, that's a shame.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just one note going back for a second, the intro music. I feel like it's been built up since.
Has it?
Like there's been more instruments and stuff added since the first one. I could be wrong about that, but because it was really like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
Maybe a
Try
piano. Yeah.
going back to the first episode now and see if it sounds the same. Because, I mean, yeah, that was just something towards the start. Like, in the first few episodes, I was kind of like, oh, it's all right. I'm not quite feeling it. But here, I was, yeah, this is awesome.
It hit me straight away from the first one. I was just like, this is a show.
Yeah. I don't know. So that could be me making it up, but it's a thought. Because they've done some stuff kind of like that in the main show. I mean, I think they even changed the key of it between seasons, and obviously the actual graphic at the end, they'll make it all falling apart
Okay, here we go.
No, this probably hasn't changed
No,
at all.
I think.
Oh, maybe.
All right, hold on to that. Hold on to that. Hold on to that. I think you're right. I think. Okay. Try and clear your mind. Clear your mind.
All right.
AMC, we're doing this for the. Oh, look, maybe.
Oh, it's so hard to say. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
There you go. Well, it's cool either way.
You could convince me that there was like more bass in the later versions with like a little bit more like orchestral swelling.
Yeah, just something.
But
Who knows?
yeah, subtle, whatever it is.
Yeah. I guess overall another thing with this episode is I feel like a lot of what happened here should have happened in episode 2, especially with Daryl getting to know Laurent and like building a relationship and stuff like that, because up until now, and it's the second last episode now, they kind of like they had one or two conversations but like you didn't really feel like they had a relationship like he did with Judith and all that sort of stuff. It was just like, oh, you know, they're in a group and he always talks to Isabel and he doesn't even really spend much time with the kid anyway. So yeah, like that sort of stuff I feel like probably would have been better to have towards the start, and then it could have been just subtly built on throughout.
Maybe yes or
I don't
no,
know.
because we've all been very frustrated with like, why is Daryl in Paris of all places, like France? For it to open up this episode with a character asking something that we really want to know, like, how have you come to be here in France? We're like leaning forward in our chairs going, yeah. And so for that to finally be a payoff, and really for this whole flashback sequence to be in response to his question, I think that's well done.
Yeah.
But is it a good thing to do that because your viewers are annoyed? Like, hey, I get it. I've frustrated you for 4 episodes now.
Or is it just kind of like we're impatient because of our eager anticipation for wanting to know, you know? Both, bit of both. I hear what you're saying, yeah.
And I like, however much I would have liked an answer earlier, I get why they did it now to tie it in with the whole experiment walkers, whatever they're called. Like it definitely makes sense as far as tying the scenes together and playing it all out like that. But yeah, at the same time, it sort of feels like, oh, okay, now I at least know what's going on, and now it's easier to kind of get into the story as opposed to just having no clue how we got here, why things are happening. So yeah, it makes sense, but there's just it's more so just that relationship stuff between the kid and Daryl that like it's that kind of feels like it's supposed to be the emotional core of the show, but we haven't really got much of it until now. And they had a whole Last of Us conversation as well, just to make the parallels even more. It's almost line for line, or just like slightly rewritten.
What bit is that?
When Ellie says like, "Oh, everyone I've ever known has either died or left me, except for you." Yeah, very similar.
With that beanie on, that dude has very Tamura Morrison vibes.
It does. This is Boat Guy for anyone listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, there's that fish.
There it
thing.
is, yeah.
It does kind of blend
Okay,
with
yep.
the bucket a bit. Liam couldn't see it when.
No, I'm colorblind. That's my excuse.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll only get you so far, Liam.
I
The fish
use
is
it
right there.
always. It's my get out of jail free card.
Yeah, that guy. Like, how did you feel about his death scene? Because it was, for me, I liked it as a scene, and it was, you know, charming and stuff. But again, it was a little bit like, okay, if I just block everything else out and look at this as a scene, it's nice and it's kind of emotional and stuff. But then at the same time, it's like, this is just some random guy we've met like this episode.
But like
and
I say,
it feels, I guess the only other thing for me is because it feels like a budget thing to have it all happen off screen, and then he's just standing there against a telephone pole. Like, I don't know, that's just where my mind goes. But it was a nice scene. Like, what did you think?
well, I'm always looking out for people who have been in this universe for some time. They should know a thing or two about survival and like how to, fend off walkers and stuff like that. And I am always saying, please, please, please acknowledge what is happening in the scene. So for him to flat out say like, what a stupid thing to happen. Like I just got pushed into a telephone pole. We're like, yeah. Like, Daryl said like rough way, like, something like that, tough luck or whatever. And that to me completely like sealed the scene with a kiss, because I was just like, great,
Sure.
For you to be backed up and stabbed by a telephone pole. It's kind of like, come on, of all things. And my dad was a telephone
Yeah.
service operator, whatever. So that to me speaks of good writing, because it's kind of like, yeah, any problems I would have had with the scene of being like, oh, he should have yelled out for help, or any of these things, like he was probably a bit tired, he was fending a lot of them off, and then, whoops, here I got, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Definitely. I don't know. My only thing is it works as a scene, but probably if we had like at least one more episode with that guy, it would have been a more emotional payoff of like, oh no, that guy, as opposed to like having just one conversation before that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it works.
The scene with
Nitpicky.
Daryl punching the fish. Yeah, good stuff. We
Good
had a
stuff.
chat about it just while it was happening, about
Yeah.
filleting fish etiquette.
Mm.
It's good stuff.
It does look funny because he gets the knife as if he's about to stab it, and then just like punches it.
I thought he stabbed it too.
Well, maybe he
initially,
does
yeah.
stab it, and they just didn't put the sound effect in or something. Yeah. Very random.
Have you guys ever watched the In-Betweeners show?
Yes, that is a
Not
great
much,
show.
no.
Yeah. There's a similar thing with a guy punching a fish to death.
Okay.
It reminded me of
Yeah.
that. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much happy to just not talk about Isabel and that guy because, I don't know, do you
It's
guys
boring.
have any notes? It's just not all that interesting.
Nah.
Yes and no.
Yeah?
I mean, really quick, because, yeah, sure, we'll skip past it. But so he's going on this whole thing about, like, let the past die speech.
Very
yeah.
Kylo Ren.
I was just thinking that.
I was going to add kill it if you have
must.
to. Yeah. So, yeah, he's clearly, well, I don't know. For me, he was...
Painting. Sorry.
It's a Monet.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
in Titanic.
Is it?
Oh, man, he's... Not only have they made it all the way to France, they've gone down to the
Exactly.
Titanic and recovered it in the middle of the apocalypse.
Well, it was in the Titanic movie. It probably wasn't actually aboard the Titanic.
Right. But yeah, it seems to me like he's trying to make amends. He seems like odd and creepy and all of these things. He's clearly a bad guy. But yeah, for me, he's coming with, contrition, and he's sort of saying like, yeah, things don't have to be like this. We can go back to the way we were. And I caught myself wondering in this episode, does he actually mean that? And that casts a little bit of doubt. He's not just a bad guy. Maybe he's a bad guy trying to do good. So yeah, makes you think.
Yeah. Kind of middle grey guy who's just doesn't realise how selfish he is. Because, like, I don't know. What do you
I don't know. He had the whole mafia thing going on later on in the
Yeah,
episode.
true.
Like, nah, this dude's just a...
As soon as he put
bit
on
of a
that black
goose.
hat.
Yeah. And he threatened Daryl, like, sleep with one eye open.
It's Quinn, by the way.
Quinn.
Win.
Or Quill. Quinn?
Quill.
One of the
I
other.
think
Tomato, tomato.
But
We
I
were
don't
calling him Jimmy the other episode. So I
He
don't
looks like a Jimmy.
know. Yeah. But like, I don't know. This is like, it's just the writing. I get it, but it's sort of interesting character work in the sense of I don't know what the word is for incel or whatever, but like, just a guy who doesn't really see her as an actual person. Because like, you'd think just earlier, in the other episode when they were met again, like, couldn't he just pull her aside and say, hey, look, I know we've had some rough times, but like, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a chance and let me prove myself and show you that I've changed, like, rather than whatever's happened here is like kidnapped her or something. Like, yeah, it's just, but it's an interesting character at least, as
Is
long
it
as it's
though?
all intentional. I don't know. Yeah, there you go.
Well, we needed him so that Isabella could get to Laurent later on.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
if that's all it was, then fine.
Yeah.
I thought that he was going to be the one dragged out into the arena, having fully turned and injected with stuff.
Ah,
That's
that would have been interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jiminy on roids.
I guess, sorry to cap that off, what I'm trying to put together in my head is more so that, like, yes, it's kind of, he's real stupid and selfish, but, like, there are people like that, I guess, in real life who kind of think that they're being nice and cool and selfless, but actually, like, it's all about them, and they're not even really seeing other people as, like, their own people in the situation. They just see, like, oh, well, they're my ex-girlfriend, or they're this person to me, and that's all they are. So, like,
So
yeah, it's kind of interesting.
an expression of narcissism, right?
Exactly. Yeah. The whole set here with I don't know, the glow where, like, Laurent's praying and where they sleep later and all. I thought this whole thing looked cool. Then even in the morning, it's all like misty and stuff. So
Yeah.
And again, like on the road when he drops his Rubik's cube and pencils. Like just the whole look of this show, I'm really happy with all the sets and stuff like that. It's
No complaints there for me at all.
really nice.
I have that note for later on the boat scene with, like, all the walkers in the cages and everything and the shipping containers. I thought that was done very nicely.
Yeah, nice. All right, shall we skip ahead? Is there anything?
Daryl uses the radio, which is all throughout the history of Walking Dead. It's like, oh, the precious radio. No, you're not allowed to touch that and everything. But yeah, so he radios Carol, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that Carol on the other end?
Sounded like it.
Yeah.
All right, and she said has come back. Who do we think, Liam? Who's come back?
I don't know. Who could it be outside? Obviously, the main thing you think of is Rick, right? Well, Rick on Michonne.
No.
No.
No,
Who are
you
you
were
thinking?
thinking
No,
of.
well, Ben went and said the governor, and
Long live Woodbury.
Yeah. No, I was thinking was during the what's that other show we just watched? Dead City. Did Negan not come back to?
No, he didn't.
He stayed to be
that.
like the new king of the
Yeah.
island or
But
whatever.
before that. No, okay, so I guess I'm remembering it wrong. Okay, because I thought it might have just been Negan's comeback.
Oh, right, yeah.
But it was a short crackle, so it could be a one-syllable name like Rick.
Yeah. It feels like, I mean, hopefully we get an answer next week. That would be cool. But it feels like more of them just giving themselves options for the future. Because
Yeah.
I mean, so there's a few things here just before we press record on this. We watched the World Beyond post-credits scene where they were in France and they teased the variant running strong walker, which, like, they could in a stretch tie into this, but, like, it kind of feels like they planted that seed and then gave up on it and then did something kind of similar but different and hoped people would forget about it. But I don't know, judging by how some of this has gone, it kind of seems like they're making it up as they go and they just want to have options for what they can do in the future, so then they can say, if Rick did come back at a certain time in the timeline, then they can say, oh, that's what that was. But if it's something else, they'll just say, like, oh, the Reapers came back or whatever, some random villain or something, like.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them.
Who knows? But yeah, I'm keen to see, like, it seems more like bait for YouTube videos as well. It's like, who came back? This theory explained and all that. But, yeah, there might be some interesting theories out there. Keen to see what people have to say on Reddit and all that. Speaking of Reddit, I do have a lot of fun on the OK Buddy Carl Reddit. If anyone's interested in just stupid memes and stuff. There's still a lot of people out there talking about the main show and just making dumb jokes and all that. So I enjoy that.
I got
It's good
caught
fun.
up in a Reddit thread just today. I don't
Yeah.
usually go on Reddit at all, but like I just have such a laugh, like looking at all the comments of random
Yeah.
things. Oh man, I'll see if I can find it for you guys afterwards. But it
Well-
turned to a your mama thing very quickly. Yeah.
One other thought while we're on like the spin-offs, Dead City and everything else, is just how like this whole group that's taken him to France and running this whole thing, like they could, if they wanted to, they could tie it in and make it that they're like associated with the CRM, the big helicopter group, but it just kind of seems weird to me that they're splitting everything off in so many
Yeah.
different directions when you've already set up this big organization that has helicopters and all the rest. Why not keep us invested and interested with the hope that it could all be tied in the future? Because that was kind of what people were thinking at first when they announced the spin-offs was, oh, okay, you know, the show will end, then they'll go off into their own things for a bit, and then it'll all come together in like a big finale where they'll face off against the CRM as the big bad guy. And it kind of all makes sense that they would take Daryl to France and everything else. But so far they just haven't really done anything that ties it all together or gives the possibility of it all coming back together in one place. It just seems kind of weird.
Well, like you say, it feels like it's like being made up as they go along.
Yeah, they don't want to put too much of a finishing point too soon if they want to keep it going.
Which I think is such a shame. Like
'Cause-
you could wrap it up, but then start a different story.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the only thing that got most people to watch World Beyond is that, oh, okay, well, it's got the CRM and they're the ones who took Rick. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll get some clues as to what's going on with that, what they're all about. And so at least just give us like some little hints here. And I feel like that would, at the very least from a cheap marketing perspective, that would keep some people watching to, you know, get those clues and find out what's going on. But for the most part here, it feels like just none of this would be relevant to the Rick show or to anything else. Like, I guess that's what Marvel and stuff did so well, and what these guys seem to be trying to do is, you know, even if you don't care about this side character, you have to watch it so you know that little piece that fits in together with the bigger story. So even Fear always had CRM pop up like every season or something like that, and
Didn't notice that.
there would be just little random tie-ins, more so towards the later seasons.
That'd be why.
And so that would keep you going out of curiosity, but
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see how they go.
There you go. Up here we have a decently emotional scene with maybe one of the most like angry and explosive sort of scenes we've seen from Daryl. And I couldn't help but think, if you don't mind me just sharing my thing on this one.
Yeah.
Do you remember Daryl had a conversation with blonde-haired girl, Peach
Andrea?
Schnaps,
Oh, Beth.
Beth?
Oh, yeah.
There we go. I remember the stupidest things. About like his abusive alcoholic father and everything, who would just like
Yeah.
yell at them for no reason. And I couldn't help but kind of think of that as he's like shaking Laurent and just yelling at him, saying like, you know, all
Sure.
these things. And it's kind of like harkens back. That's a word, isn't it? Harkens back to the whole like, you know, pain that's not transformed is transferred.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether, because you can see him all, oh, look at him there. Oh,
Yeah.
such fire in his eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely gave that sort of vibe of going back to the initial redneck sort of just loose cannon
Yeah.
guy. And it's like, yeah, that's his thing that he's done a million times, grab someone and throw him and let him go. And he even did it twice here. And it's like, oh, wait a sec. That's not working. I just did that out of habit. Like, yeah. Kind of cool. Just, you know, obviously he's moved forward, but there's still a little bit of that past in there that just slips out once in a while.
So special to see him then like hug him and everything, because poor boy's on the verge of tears and everything. And yeah, he made a stupid, you know, decision cutting the boat free, hoping that it would make Daryl stick around, but you know, Kids do stupid things like that.
Sure.
Because Daryl just threw his knife in the river. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the knife that like he got from his mum or something like that as well?
Was it?
Well, I don't know.
Like,
was it?
I thought in like an earlier episode, like Isabella gives him the knife and says, "This was your mum's."
Yeah,
or
you might be
something."
right.
And so
Oh,
he
no.
ditched it in the river.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of surprised a bit. Like, I get it, and they need to progress the storyline. But realistically, if that would have happened, wouldn't you just follow the current of the river? Like, cool, well, it's probably washed up ashore somewhere.
Oh, true. Yeah.
How far could it have gotten?
Yeah, good point.
So now what are we going to do? Well, we're just going to walk down the river and see if we can spot it.
Maybe. I don't know how long the river is, and if
Yeah,
it's
but
all
the
night,
currents-
it can drift a long way.
Easily, but you'd expect that it'd wash up ashore around a bend or something, wouldn't you?
Maybe.
You'd at least want to look, right?
Yeah, and it didn't seem like a massive flowing river or
No,
like
it
big
looked pretty
rushing
calm,
water.
didn't it?
It was just
Yeah.
like a little, borderline creek.
Yeah.
Do you reckon the initial script was like he scuttles the boat and like, we go over to the river and you see the boat like, butt up, halfway down and then it was like, well now we definitely can't use it, but like that was too expensive to shoot.
Poked holes in it or something with the
Yeah.
knife.
Well, the trouble is because the boat guy now, they would have like, oh, it's boat guy.
Yeah.
He's just face down in the water.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Half boat, half guy.
yeah. That's it.
Ship man, perhaps? Yeah.
Cool. I mean, that was pretty stupid when they heard the things and they were like when they were on the road and they heard the engines and they just stand there. the Laurent puts his bag down and then has to pick it up again and drop everything.
Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is. It's just because it was immediately after Daryl was saying, listen, do everything I do exactly how I tell you and all that sort of stuff. And then you expect him to say, run or go. And he just stands there. Yeah.
Big time.
There you go.
Predictable scene for me, this one.
Mm.
With Laurent being told to run away and then coming straight back when Daryl's going to get an eye taken
Sure.
out.
Yeah.
I was looking at this scene going, oh boy, you're about to join the Gabriel Club, the one-eyed.
You just said I was looking at this scene. Very nice.
Or the Governor Club, we could call it, actually.
Yeah.
Did it first, but then my mind, this is how my mind works, immediately went like, if they were in a foot race together, Daryl with one eye now, together with Gabriel, and they were like paired up on the opposite side, so they had one good eye facing outward each, then they'd have full peripheral vision together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Send that in as a suggestion.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, we've already talked about a lot of this stuff. The whole, I don't know why they're feeding people to the walkers down in that pit. That doesn't really seem to make much sense. But there's still it's cool to get that as an answer to the whole, the strong, jacked up walkers who've been electrocuted or whatever's going on there.
Yeah.
It's like, that makes sense instead of just a variant that randomly evolved, that it's come out of these experiments.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you reckon about Laurent? Is he actually psychic or whatever, or not quite psychic, but he seems to be able to connect with people beyond the obvious? Like when he says to this lady, you're not angry, you're heartbroken. And clearly that struck a nerve because she was like, how could you possibly know that? But then changes the subject. Yeah, do you reckon that he is like...
Well, speaking of follow through, like Daryl was teaching the guy chopping wood. I'll tie in there. No, it's a bit of a stretch. They're like, I feel like they're not gonna follow through on a lot of these sort of things. Yeah. The radio, I mean, even the World Beyond after credits scene, the radio, and then stuff like this, where I feel like they're setting it up and they'll kind of then leave it as like ambiguous for the audience to decide because they don't want to commit to it in case it like annoys the fan base one way or another. So,
which is
that's my guess.
Yeah.
Given that it seems to be annoying.
Yeah.
I suppose it's only our perspectives that we're sharing here.
It just feels like they want to keep their options so open and not commit to something that would actually or potentially annoy someone and that someone would disagree with. to the point that it's just sort of not really that interesting anymore because you know that each time they introduce a new concept, they're not really going to follow through with it too much. But we'll see. They could prove us wrong next episode.
I only got 2 more notes.
Mm.
They're not related to this scene, but if we want them for later.
Sure. That's fine. Go for it.
First one, I liked throughout this whole series that we've seen Isabella with like no makeup, or probably does, but can often make someone look, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but kind of plain, like nothing's really accentuated. Your features are all kind of nothing standing out. And then later on in this episode, when then she gets done up with like proper eyeshadow and eyeliner and all of the makeup stuff. I'm a guy talking about this. So that's, blush, perhaps. There's another one.
Yeah. Foundation.
Liam, do one.
Mascara.
Yeah, good one.
Okay,
There
so
we go, baby. There
She's
we go.
dolled up with all of the things, and she's actually very pretty with all of that on, I thought, which is it's a big difference because in the world where you're just out there surviving, who cares about makeup, versus like, oh, we're high society now. I've got my diamond earrings on and this new necklace, and I've, had my face made up and everything. So it's just a very clear difference, like different worlds, especially if she's now leaning into, or even if she's faking it, saying, oh, yes, I'm back to the way I used to be, party girl and all that. So
yeah, right. I honestly didn't even notice. Like, I just didn't think about it at all. I didn't think, I should put makeup on. Like, I didn't even notice. But that's just me.
No, I was the same.
I'd show you. I mean,
no, I'm sure you're 100% right. It just didn't stand out to me. But yeah, no, she's a very beautiful lady.
there you go.
I mean, that's one thing, I guess, going back to the whole, the early seasons where everyone just looks really raw and rough and sweaty and everything. Keep it as natural as you can for an apocalypse because it doesn't really make sense any other way.
Can I show you this guy's goofy scream as he gets thrown in there?
Yeah.
So again, why are they feeding guys to the walkers? I don't know if it prolongs their meatiness or whatever.
Oh, maybe for the experiments, I guess. Because like throughout the whole universe, you can't really say that they need to eat to keep energy. Like they've been walking around for 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But
this guy gets thrown in, and this is the sound. Here we go.
Yeah.
Poor
that's
lad.
good stuff. So Daryl coughing blood, that was all an orchestrated thing with the other guy, hey?
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
kind of cool.
Yeah. The old wounded fist technique.
I don't know that one.
Neither do I.
It's close to the drunken fist, where it's like you give off the impression that you're poor and defenseless, and people, don't size you up properly.
Yeah. There you go.
I do it all the time, looking weak and defenseless.
All you need to do is just play dead, and then when someone comes and taps you, ah!
Yeah.
Self-defense 101.
Yeah.
Play dead. Yeah, look at her with all the makeup on.
Yeah, no, you're right. There you go.
I mean, that's the sign of good makeup well applied, is that it's not obvious that it's makeup.
True, very true. I guess, we won't spend too much time on it. There's another guy with a mafia hat. and outfit on
the
left
mob.
there. It's just add this whole thing, the lady's speech and whatever she's trying to tell people about uniting France against the oppressors or whatever. Add that to the list of stuff that I just don't care the slightest bit about or even know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
100%.
Like, what is... Because, earlier in the other episode, she was saying, we've got to get rid of this kid because people think that he's the Messiah and that, like, takes away power from us somehow. Or
Something.
like,
False hope or
is
whatever.
there other people in power in France that she's trying to overrule? Like, what's even going on here?
Well, I think the worst part is, and I don't know if it's the same for both of you, but I just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, if there's other powers in France, no matter what all of that represents, I just don't care.
Especially
That's
she's
an
making a
interesting-
big speech to a room of like 50 people. There's
Yeah.
not even that many people in the room. It's not like this is actually. If that was in the Commonwealth, that would be
Yeah,
one thing.
different
If there's
story,
a
right?
big group of people, we got to keep the power. But it's like, it just seems like kind of a random group. Yeah, very strange.
She does have a line here, though, and I often get irked by people using this because she has a line here where she says, where in the Bible God says the meek shall inherit the earth, and then she's saying we're not meek anymore, like, but this is for us. People, I think, all the time confuse meek with like timid or weak, but that's not what meek means at all.
No.
And so for her to then go and say, "Oh, we're not meek," like, well, you misunderstood.
Didn't even read it right, mate.
For those at home, it means gentle and quiet.
Very similar to humble.
Yeah, humble, yeah.
Because like you can be strong and humble. That's kind of meek is very similar. This whole action scene was cool. At first, so he pushes the guy in the pit. He shoots the other guy with his own gun. Pretty cool. And then and then he starts choking the other guy, and it's like, why didn't he just throw him in the pit? It's right there. And then he takes he's taking the jacket off. So I was like, I
That
see.
was the hero
That was
shot
cool.
there where he puts his vest back on. I keep calling it a jacket, and I can feel Liam flinching.
You're right.
It's a vest.
I've not flinched once. Don't know what you're on about.
Okay. It is a vest, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much all I had. Did you guys have any other notes?
Nope.
Just cool seeing the variant walker running up the stairs like that, and again for the character to acknowledge that and go, "He's running up the stairs. What's going on?" Like, so, yeah, I like it a lot.
I guess that's one other thing just to touch base on again is the whole landscape of variant walkers, because they committed to it at the end of season 11 for 2 episodes or whatever. So it's just very, very strange. I guess that's one of those other things that feels like they're making it up as they go, and they're not really, because that could add a whole new interesting element to the universe of like, oh, okay, the walkers starting to evolve, or whatever direction you want to go with it, or they've been there the whole time, sure, but like in France they could be different, and then you could play that into Dead City. I don't know, there's all these sorts of cool things you could have done, but it seems like they just do it for a couple of episodes and then forget about it. It's a bit of a shame.
Well, that in of itself, like, you came up with a better plot line than probably this whole series here. Like, that the walkers are evolving. You could easily have Daryl turn around and be like, "Nah, I dealt with this group before," thinking it's someone like the Whisperers.
Yeah,
But it turns out that they
sure.
are actually evolving.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds far more cool than what we're getting with this.
Yeah.
I've just noticed here, like, she's talking, I don't know who she's talking about, like, she's saying they did this to us.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
trampled us in the
Who's
dirt.
she talking about?
But she has a line here, finally out of greed and hubris, they unleashed, come on, finish the line so I can do it. They unleashed this plague on the world. So they're saying that, she's certainly saying that it's like some kind of lab-made outbreak that... Which we've often talked about, like, there's so much mystery around how it started, with just kind of the caveat of, don't worry about it, don't think about it, it's here now, we're dealing with it. And so, but yeah, you got lines like this.
I guess the only thing, like, is she talking about Americans, and that's why they're putting Daryl in here as like payback to America oppressing them or something? I don't think don't know much about that, but yeah, very interesting. Oh, not really at all, actually. I only recognized the French national anthem because of Ratatouille.
Yeah, me too. That's funny.
Cool. Well, I was just gonna pull something up, but I completely forgot what it was. So
Well,
it wasn't important.
that's my notes for this one. In the past, we've done previously on The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah.
And I happened to YouTube a scene recently, just in closing, that I wanted to bring up.
Ah.
Please do.
But we have a guy that opens us into this segment.
Really?
Apparently.
Cue us
Oh
in, Lee.
man, it's been so long. Yeah, go for
It's
it.
been a while. I don't even know if I could previously on AMC's The Walking Dead.
Very nice, very nice. I completely forgot about that. Hey,
Just the
I
Ron
thought you were going to
Burgundy.
do another song like
I'm not
on
prepared.
like
I'm
on
not
Astromech.
prepared. I'm really not. Yeah, just a conversation. Ben will tell me what series, and I think actually it's season. I won't even attempt it. Maybe season
Oh,
2.
go on.
Maybe season 2, episode 3, titled.
It's a good episode.
Yeah. Shane is having a conversation with. Fisher hat guy. What's his name?
Dale.
Dale, not Daryl. Dale. About killing the boy, the
Yeah.
captor, whatever his name is,
Randall.
So where am I, Ben?
Season 2, episode 11, I think.
Okay, cold.
Judge, Jury, and Executioner.
My goodness me.
Insane. I love it.
Oh,
Actually, I think it's just Judge, Jury, Executioner without the and.
okay.
Oh,
Well,
no,
not
sure.
even an ampersand?
Probably.
Oh, boy. Boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
Let's see.
I'm
Who
sorry
knows?
to all those who I misled with the and. But yeah, they're having that conversation, and kind of Dale steps up to Shane and says, kind of like, you know, if we kill him, it changes nothing, but it changes us.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a pretty powerful line to come out of him, because it's like up to that point, they'd only been killing walkers. I don't think
Yeah.
they'd killed anybody yet. And
Yeah.
Shane's response to that was like, kind of like, oh, you know,
Mm.
he didn't really take the point at all, but it was still kind of,
Sure, yeah.
yeah.
Or just, didn't really care about that side of the consequences.
Mm. But how true it was, how quickly the group changed once they started killing actual people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Dale was on it.
I guess that's kind of something interesting as to why the early seasons are, or at least they're a lot easier to write and make them real interesting, is because those sort of dilemmas, you're dealing with them all for the first time, but then that's where some of those sort of, emotional speeches or whatever, when it gets to like season 7 and you're talking about like, our humanity, this is who we are. It's like, oh, okay. We kind of gone through this a few times already. Like, it's harder to talk about something real profound a few seasons in. So, it's interesting. Man, look at that. Oh, that's one last thing, actually. This is the end scene playing here, because the veins are going crazy on this walker. Is this supposed to be the same as those burners, or is this completely different?
Nah, this is different. This is like the one in the lab that like ripped the chainsaw.
Because they're using like the same vein animation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the burners, maybe did they like escape from the lab or something? Like, that seems like a bit of a stretch, because they were sleeping in the greenhouse or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just So even within this own show, it's kind of like, whoa, what are you guys doing here? Which idea are you going with? But maybe they'll tie it together in the end. That's definitely for the finale. One thing they better do something with the burners, or at least bring it
I
back.
don't think
Because
they will.
why would you introduce that just for like 2 random, very brief scenes?
Just for a little bit of pizzazz.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I don't think they're going to come back into the last episode.
Yeah.
I think they've done that just to be like, hey, look what we've got.
Fair enough.
Isn't this cool?
At this, right?
I'm very cynical about this.
Let me go ahead and then predict, like, because it's had this whole Last of Us kind of mirroring. That's a hard word. I'll bet you this boss French lady, meets her demise the very same way that other lady who controlled the Raider town, or whatever it was in Last of Us. What are they called? Not Ravengers. The group in the city who were like hunting down.
Oh, the Fireflies?
No.
I think, they were just like the hunters or something, right? Wasn't it just...
They had
I'm
a
trying to
name
think
that
of
started with R. I can't remember. But anyway, do you
Yeah,
remember
you're
there's like
right.
chaos going on, and then like Joel and Ellie are escaping, and then she just runs out into the open and says, "Hey!" And they turn around, and then like one of the baby ones like jumps on her and gets her. It'll be something very similar. She's even fully dressed in black as well, this French lady. So there
Yeah.
you go. There's your parallel.
good one. I'm just Googling it now in Last of Us. Have you got a previously on thing, Liam?
No, I wasn't even prepared for
Oh,
this,
that's
but
fair
have you
enough.
got another one, Isaac?
Oh, well, no, while you prepare, I just wanted to make a note, Ben, because I was listening to last week's episode
Yeah.
where you equated. You remember there was a pigeon guy with his bike, with a pigeon bike?
Yeah.
And we said that he was, potentially going to go steal the bike, and it was similar to the Mr. Bean sort of thing.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
yet another tie-in for Mr. Bean's holiday.
Yeah.
Which we
there you go.
talked about, but didn't add it to the
Okay,
tally.
all
so,
right. Add that to anything from this week, Mr. Bean related. Well, we'll think of something. Anyone who's listening to this episode, write into us, and we'll add it to the list next week.
where would they
for a
write
total.
into?
To turnsounds@gmail.com or Instagram, Just Keep Walking podcast. I think it is Just Keep Walking podcast. One of the two, you'll find it. Yeah, I've got one written down. Just I had a few backups from ages ago. Remember the flashback of like Carol after she gets exiled by Rick for killing the two sick people, Karen and David.
Go on.
So she sort of like disappears for a few episodes, and then she comes back in the next season to save them from Terminus. And I think it's in the next episode after that, then we get like the cold open is like a flashback to her out on the road just surviving. And like, yeah, I don't know. It's nothing too significant that comes out of it, but it's just kind of cool to see a different perspective on something. It's like, oh, I wonder what Carol was up to in that time, and to then go back and get those little answers. It's nice and adds a little bit more emotion to it as well, as to her making the decision to come back, because I think then it ends on her hearing. Oh no, what did happen? Yeah, then she met up with Tyrese and stuff, right?
Yeah, but did she not go to the prison, see the aftermath, and then start looking for him? Is that how it ended?
Yeah, that's it. It's something like, I'm getting it all mixed up, but yeah, maybe it's not in season 5. Then it could have been the one where she meets up with Tyrese.
No, I think you're.
Who knows?
Yeah, I can't remember now.
Did she see
Anyways.
the governor on the ground?
Maybe.
Because we were talking about like we didn't see the governor actually get stabbed in the head. It was happened like out of the shot. So.
Yeah, because he got like shot.
Yeah.
But.
Anyway,
There you go.
I hold out hope.
Yeah, you're right. Because that was before the prison, and then she sees the prison. Oh wow, what's happened?
Yeah.
Anyways, I just like little things like that. And there's a similar one with Bob as well, but just kind of filling those gaps, those little bits of curiosity.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like a fan movie or a spin-off of like, someone like, what did Carol do during those 2 days? And then to actually get that in the show is just like a little 2-minute scene. Yeah, I
quite
like
nice.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Especially as opposed, I'm rewatching season 11 now. There's just so much we talked about where it's like, what? Did we just skip like 3 episodes? How did we get here? And it'll just skip over so much stuff that seems really important. There we go. Anything from you, Liam?
I do.
Cool.
So I am rewatching the whole series with my friend Pete, who hasn't seen it.
Wow.
Who does want to come onto the show, actually.
yeah,
He's
for
very
sure.
keen
That'd be
to come and
awesome.
record an episode.
Nice.
Pete and I have just started season 8, All Out War.
Wow.
And we all know... Sorry.
Wow, Liam, you're watching all that again.
I know.
Wow.
But we are all very much of the same mind that the ending was very anticlimactic. The start of
The
it is-
ending of what?
Season 8, sorry. All
So
Out War.
you're starting...
We've just started season 8.
So are you talking about the ending of season 7? Or?
No, the ending of season 8 sucks. That's what we're on the same page about, yeah?
All of us?
Yeah.
Or,
Yes,
oh, right.
yes.
I thought you meant... I was like, but he hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
What do you
No,
mean?
he hasn't yet. No. So
Okay,
we're
okay,
3
sorry.
episodes
Yeah.
into season 8 now.
Gotcha.
And season 8 actually started off really good.
Yeah, it
Like
did,
taking out the Century little people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just really cool. Like there was one dude perched on top of like halfway up a telephone pole or a power line or something. And all of a sudden you see like him sort of twitch and then just falls off. And my friend's like, "What happened? Did he just get sniped?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." But then you see Rick or Daryl crossing off a name on a list.
Yeah.
And yeah, then it's this little montage of different little people doing guard duty, I suppose, in different locations. And one by one, Rick and the crew picks them off.
Mm.
Like,
That was
wow,
the
this
list
is-
like Dwight gave them.
Yeah.
Have the different lookout
Yeah.
locations.
But yeah, my season 8 actually started off really, really good. Apart from all the weird little, it's not even a flash forward or whatever. It was all in his head, I think, wasn't it?
Oh right,
Old
yeah.
man Rick with his limp.
Yeah. Carl's vision.
Yeah.
For the future.
Plus, that's it, Carl's vision. Plus, you've also got the flash forward to the aftermath of season 8's big showdown.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know. I mean, we could probably, if he is keen on jumping onto the show, we can like ask him on air and everything. But I would be very keen to know, like with the dumpster scene, but then also with like the
Yeah.
massive cliffhanger with the "Eeny, meeny, miny, mo." Yeah, how he felt about all of that.
He wasn't as like up in arms about it, but I think that's because we were then able to jump straight back into the next episode.
Sure.
It does soften the blow a bit.
Yeah.
Hey? Yeah. Oh well, yeah. Keen to get him on. Hear a fresh perspective. That'd be
He'll
awesome.
be thrilled.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of cool stuff, and those first like 3 or so episodes, especially just in season 8, like fully action packed. Lots of cool
Yeah.
stuff. Like
Yeah.
there's, if you look too deeply at it, it's like, why are they shooting at the windows? There's
Yeah.
all those sort of things. But
Oh, on that though, he actually raised a valid point
Yeah.
because I thought the same thing. I'm like, this is dumb. You're just wasting your bullets. But he's like, yeah, but how are they going to replace the windows?
yeah.
Like, they're not going to be able to unless they've got some sort of wicked glazier or something.
Mm.
But it's either that or board them up. Like now they're going to be exposed to the elements. Like it's just not going to be as pleasant anymore. So yeah, it's not really going to do a whole lot of damage. But they're very uncomfortable now.
Yeah, fair enough. There you go.
Sure.
okay,
It's
yeah.
the whole Die Hard technique as well, shooting the glass. If they don't have shoes, they'll cut off their feet.
Yeah.
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 Fists with your toes.
Yeah.
One other little random time with that, with Dwight's notes that he sends back and forth. I love when I think it's right at the start of season 8 when he's just sitting there by his bike and then Daryl like shoots the arrow
into
with the
the
note
tire.
into the tire, pops his tire.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for helping us out. Here's a secret message, but screw
Screw
you,
you,
still.
buddy.
Some good stuff. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Please feel free to write in. Definitely. Oh, that's the very last thing is Squawking Dead commented again.
Hey.
I won't read it all out, but he said the title of the last episode, La Dame de Fer, means the Iron Lady. So the Statue of
Okay.
Liberty kind of ties in.
There you go.
I guess.
Google
Yeah.
lied to me then.
Did it? What? Yeah. What did it say to you? I
The
can't
lady
remember.
to do.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, guess you can't trust the internet then.
Maybe
You'd
not.
think, yeah, that's kind of
I
weird.
did like a direct translation.
we
thing
gotta
on-
look into.
Well, it
that
could be a
again.
case of you translate something into say Spanish and then you translate it back and it's slightly different, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Might be a case of that.
Maybe.
There we go. Cool.
The Iron Lady. Okay, yeah. True.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next week. I've been Ben,
I'm still Isaac.
I will 99% of the time be Liam.
and just keep walking.
R.I.P. boat guy.
Also, I think she's made out of copper. That's why she turned green. Dude.
Oh yeah,
Statue of
right.
Liberty. Yeah.
Wow. All right. We've got to find some answers.